Hey guys, Nintendrew here, back with a quick video on Super Mario Odyssey. In the weeks following the game's launch, Odyssey has been met with nearly universal praise, and it's no surprise that speedrunners have picked up the title, for lack of a better phrase, at the drop of a hat. Even just weeks after release, speedrunners have already found some pretty impressive strategies and skips for tackling the title as quickly as possible. And in this video, we'll be covering 5 of the coolest tricks used in the current route. And of course, because this video does describe strategies used to beat the game, there will be plenty of spoilers, so with that warning out of the way, let's get to it. The first trick on the list is used very early on in the run and is known as Dino Skip, or Cascade Skip. So let's take a quick trip over to the Second Kingdom and give it a go. First, we'll want to find the sleeping T-Rex, as he is a crucial element of this skip. The goal of this trick is to quickly reach the upper ledge to trigger the Madame Brutal boss fight early. Now typically if you're running through this level casually, you would run around this cliff wall, go across the bridge, past the 8-bit platforming section, past more chain chomps, and through the upper area to reach the fight. But of course, skipping this area entirely saves a great deal of time. So here are the basic steps. First, we'll capture the T-Rex and head to the right side of this ledge. On the opposite end are some breakable rocks hiding a trampoline, which Mario typically uses to get back onto the ledge to capture the dino. But in this case, we're going to use it while controlling the dinosaur to get some extra height. So to do that, we run into the rocks to break them, and then simultaneously angle the dinosaur toward the upper ledge while triggering the trampoline with the dinosaur's left foot. This is very important. If the dino's left foot does not come into contact with the trampoline, this jump will not work. If you've done it correctly, it will look something like this. Now for the final step to reach the boss fight. At the peak of the dinosaur's jump, we'll press ZL to decapture and hop out of the dino's head. Then press Y to spin and toss out Cappy for some extra distance, and finally press ZL and Y to dive onto the ledge. If done correctly, this will trigger the loading zone, which will immediately start the Madame Brutal fight. Here's a look at the whole trick in action. And that's it. This skip can be a little finicky due to the inconsistency of the dino's footsteps, but with a little practice it can be very helpful early on in the run. Trick number 2, the Jaxi Ruin Skip, or Bullet Bill Skip. This is one of the tougher tricks in the any % route, but with clever use of some visual cues you can learn to pull it off pretty consistently. In the Sand Kingdom, if you fall into this sand pit, you'll enter an underground ice cavern filled with a gauntlet of slippery platforming. If you manage to make your way all the way to the end, you'll find a pipe leading to the top of the Jaxi Ruins, where the treasure of Jaxi Ruins Power Moon awaits. However, with the help of a bullet bill and some precise movement, we can reach this chest without ever stepping foot in the ice cavern. Here's the basic execution. First, we capture this bullet bill in the Tostarena Ruins. Angle the bullet bill toward the Jaxi Ruins and shake the controller to gain some extra speed. Just before we're about to crash into the side of the wall, we'll jump out of the bullet bill with ZL, wall jump against the side of the tower, throw Cappy toward the ledge, and finally dive onto the platform. It's definitely a bit harder than it looks, but here are a couple tips to help you get this one down. First, it's important to note that not every part of the wall will work to get you the height you need from the wall jump, so you'll want to aim for this very specific part of the engraving on the corner, just to the left of the face. In order to reach that spot, you'll need to jump out of the bullet bill at just the right time to maximize your height. I like to hit ZL right as the nose of the bullet bill lines up with this line on the side of the tower, although it doesn't have to be perfectly precise. If you practice this trick, you'll get a feel for the timing. If you've done it correctly, you should be able to land on the target and make your way to safety. Here's a look at the whole trick together. Again, not the easiest skip in the route, but it is certainly satisfying when you can manage to do it. Trick number 3 is Klepto Skip. A Klepto is this guy, this jerk of a bird, and if you've played through the game, you're no doubt aware of what he does. As soon as you step foot on solid ground in the Lost Kingdom's Forgotten Isle anywhere below the bird's line of sight, he'll swoop down and steal Cappy, making you hop, skip, and jump your way up the level's terrain to rescue your buddy. This sequence clearly takes a long time, especially when you're trying to blast through this kingdom in a speedrun, but thankfully we have a way to bypass it entirely. To explain this trick, let's first take a look at the map of the Forgotten Isle. Mario starts in the lower right corner, and Klepto is stationed on a ledge up here. Again, if you step foot anywhere below Klepto's lookout, you'll trigger the cutscene where he steals Cappy. Typically how you might progress through this level would be to run up to this first ledge where Cappy is rudely snatched and brought back to Klepto's roosting spot on the upper ledge. Then you'd make your way around the right side of the level, past the poison waterfall, and over to Klepto in order to save him. However, this entire sequence can be bypassed with some well-executed jumps by taking the higher ground and triggering Klepto's attack sequence before he ever has a chance to grab your hat. Here's how it's done. By using some basic high jump techniques, we can jump onto the tree trunk on the left of the swamp and then across the cage to the higher ledge beyond. This is safe ground, and Klepto cannot steal Cappy when you're over here. Then we can use this convenient rock to gain some extra height and go even further up the mountain. From here, it's quite trivial to jump all the way to Klepto's ledge and trigger his attack phase without ever losing your head-warming buddy. At this point, you can feel free to explore the entire level without fear of Klepto's grabby talons. Here's a look at the whole trick in action. And that's it. Klepto Skip is definitely one of the easiest tricks in the run and results in a big time save. Trick number 4, RoboBrood Quick Kill. Personally, this is the trick I seem to have the most trouble with, but it is super rewarding when you actually get it. The RoboBrood, sometimes referred to as the Mecha Broodal, is the boss of Bowser's Kingdom, and typically requires 4 cycles to kill. Take control of the Pokio, hit the bombs back at the mecha, fling yourself up the side, and take care of one of the 4 Broodals. Rinse and repeat. However, if you can manage to keep yourself on top of the mecha as it recovers and begins to attack after the first phase, you can actually ground pound the rest of the Broodals one by one, skipping the entire pattern of breaking the machine's armor from below, provided that you're able to recover and land on the top of the boss after each blow. Here's a look at the trick in action. Again, definitely not an easy task, probably the hardest fight in the game, but a very rewarding challenge nonetheless. And finally, trick number 5 is Cave Skip, also known as Moon Skip. This trick, of course, takes place on the moon, which is the last area before the game's final boss fight. Typically, when you play through this level, you'll have to enter the Moon Cave, which leads to the top of the cliff near the wedding chapel, but you won't get there before enduring a long platforming gauntlet surrounded by lava in typical Bowser fashion, so instead of doing that, we're going to skip the cave entirely. To set this trick up, we'll run around the cliff face away from the cave entrance to the hidden Sphinx. To show you how this trick works, I'm first going to show you the whole move in action. Here we go. Looks easy, right? Well, in reality, this trick is highly deceiving. While it may look like a simple pair of wall jumps, the developers actively tried to prevent this sort of movement by blocking Mario from wall jumping in this section 2 times in a row. In fact, this trick only works in a very specific part of the wall, which I'll show you now. In order to ensure that you're lined up correctly, you'll want to stand in the middle of the Sphinx's head and face the wall. First, we'll execute a ground pound jump. Then, just as Mario starts to descend, you'll throw out Cappy. Hopping from Cappy gives you just enough height to land at the perfect spot on the wall for your first wall jump. On this wall is a patch which looks a bit like a square. I'll outline it here so you can see what I mean. The goal is to land exactly in the center of that square and wall jump to the other side. If you manage to hit that square dead on, you should be able to land on the patch of the left wall, which will allow you to perform the second wall jump and gain enough height to make it to the cave's exit. And there you have it. Let's take a look at the trick one more time at full speed. Okay guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please do consider subscribing to Nintendrew for all sorts of cool gaming content. And otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye! Hey guys, thanks again for checking out the video. I know it's a little different than usual, but I hope you enjoyed it. And I want to give a special thank you to someone who inspired me to get into Mario speedruns, so shoutouts to Simple Flips.
Wait, hold on, Drew. I don't even think that you included the most impressive trick.